Hey guys and girls and ladies and gentlemen and everyone out there. You will not believe what episode we are at today.
We are at episode 7.
Episode 7, guys. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Guys, 7. Oh, 7. It's just that time of the night, guys, where
It's 8 p.m. as in for us it's that time.
you know when you get to a certain age, it just stops. It
It
stops.
really
You want to like get to bed by 9 p.m.
Guys, she shuts down by 10:30. If you're out with her, 10:30, she's like quiet, just sitting in the corner.
I'm like, should we go home now? And then they're like, Mer, the night has just started. And I'm like, oh.
Question. Okay, guys, do you ever get that thing when you leave the house and then you sit in your car, you bring down the little mirror thing?
Or you say you're like in the elevator.
Yeah, you're
different
in the elevator.
lighting.
You see yourself in a mirror, right?
Different lighting.
And you see those little mustache hairs.
You're like, wait a minute.
I'm
Look at me. Like, wait a minute.
I'm like, whoa. And then I see the little hairs in between my eyebrows. I'm like, whoa.
For me, I see like the hair over here, and
Oh
I'm
my
like,
god, me too.
and sometimes I don't see it. Sometimes I'm just like thinking, and I'm like,
I feel it, and I'm like,
what is this? I'm like, I can't do this anymore. And then you get so self-conscious. You're like, what if others can see it too? What if they see the little like fuzz here? You're like,
yeah. Dude, once I literally was shopping with my mom, and we were like trying on like stuff, and then in the mirror of the changing room, I see my mustache. I'm like an hour away from home, okay? And I'm like, my mom and I have like these little like matching epilators. I'm like hoping and praying to God that she has it in her bag. I'm like, Mom, do you have the epilator? She's like, no, I don't. I was about to go to my in-laws' house after that. Guys, it's the way. But guys, it's the way that I was actually ready to cry. And the thing is, like, obviously there is no shame in having facial hair. So that's kind of what we're talking about today. So we're talking about being a brown girl, right? It's
what
like,
comes with being a brown girl.
what comes with being a brown girl.
Like how it's a universal experience, basically. She's experienced it. I've experienced it.
Every brown girl.
We're sure you've experienced it.
It's like, you know, the arm hair and the face hair and the little chin hairs and the hair between your eyebrows. And,
everywhere.
Everything. So it's just like, I think we are now in a society where people are starting to destigmatize hair. But I also think it's about personal preference, right? Because some people can like having that. Some people don't really care. But then some people do. And I feel like either one is valid. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah.
But you know what? When it's not valid, when a man has an opinion on your body hair, because I've had friends who they've later come and told me like, you know, my ex, like, he used to hate the fact I had body on my hair, and I'm like, he did what? And he's like, always make sure that she shaved before they met up.
That's crazy.
And I'm like, he did what?
That's literally crazy.
For an ex, girl.
That's crazy. Like, I really dislike when men have an opinion like, oh, I don't like arm hair. Why?
It's hair.
It's literally hair. It's natural. And like, if you're gonna be with a brown girl, you know that's what is gonna happen. We're like, this is in our genetics, dude.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not gonna lie, like I mentioned before, some things you care about, some things you don't. Like for me, I really care about my mustache because she's a thick one.
I like it, don't worry.
So like I mentioned before, there are some things that, you know, we care about and some things we don't. Like, for example, for me, I care about my mustache hair because she's a little bit thick.
Hey,
I just trimmed it before this.
She really did. She was like, wait a minute. And then she went to the washroom and she got epilated and she's like, it's such a universal brown girl experience to have an epilator.
But then one thing that I do not care about is my arm hair. Like I used to care about it when I went into an like white people school. And you know, like white people have like very light body hair. Like some of them, obviously I'm talking about like people who have light hair in general. So like I would notice that a lot of the girls around me, they would never have like arm hair and stuff. So at that time I got very conscious of it. But as I grew up, I was kind of like, I don't care. Like,
who cares?
Exactly. I have never cared about my arm hair, but like something I care about is my mustache hair.
Hey, don't. I think it makes you look so cute.
Goodness, you too. Oh! The thing is, sometimes I will realize that, I have some, you know, hair sticking on my chin. And I'm like, it's natural. Sometimes I'll be in that mood where I'll be like, it's fine. I don't really care. And sometimes I'll be like, whoa. So I feel like either one is valid. I'm not gonna lie. Unless you feel shame. I feel like the shame aspect is the one that we should like try and destigmatize. But I feel like if you just like having it off, then you like having it off. And if you like
having it on,
you like having it on.
For me personally, like I really started. I remember it was a night before my 16th birthday. My mom was
Oh
like,
my
"You can
goodness.
take your hair off," and I'm like, I went to the washroom. Not even joking. I actually spent like about 2 hours in the washroom because it was a lot of hair. My first time taking my arm hair, like everything off, and I was there for a long time. And you know, everything showers where
Yeah.
you just feel so like whoa.
Lightheaded, you're like, ooh.
Once you come out, you're like whoa. I
Yeah.
feel lighter. That was me. I felt like a few kilos lighter, guys.
Yeah.
But I think because I grew up with body hair and like I at the age of 16 is only when I took it off. I was so used to it
Yeah.
that even now that I don't mind having my body hair on.
Of course.
And I think if I were to encounter a person who does have a problem with my body hair, I think that's my sign that this person's not for me. If a man were to tell me, I can see your hair, and I'm like, and what about it? What about
what
it?
about it?
It's
Sir,
actually
it's
quite,
completely
it's
natural.
quite cute. The only
Yeah.
time I do take my hair off is when I have like to wear a skirt, if I have
Mm.
like a function coming up, and I look extra cute. But otherwise, I have that girls on. I had the girls on, girl.
Yeah, me too. So I have like hair on my fingers, like here and here, and
Me too.
yeah, and I have always been very insecure about it because I have like kind of chubby hands. I feel like naturally, like a lot of people don't think they're very feminine, and I always keep my nails
Never
pretty short.
ever my favorite hand ever. Oh my
so
goodness.
freaking cute. Get some issues like this. I feel like I've always been very insecure about that because you know my mom doesn't have that when my dad has it on his hands. So I'm like, am I
Oh.
masculine?
Yeah, I think like
Yeah.
you definitely associate like even I have hair here
Yeah.
especially.
Oh, me too.
And I associate that with being very masculine.
too,
And
me
then
too.
when I first noticed that, it was really it triggered me a bit.
Yeah.
But then you're like, it's just hair.
Exactly.
It's just hair. If someone has a problem with it, that's a them problem, not a you problem.
For sure.
This is what you realize as you grow up.
Yeah, for sure. I think it takes maturity.
Yeah.
It just takes when, but like, I'm curious to know, like, when do you think you became conscious of the fact that you had body hair, like hair on your face or hair on your arms or whatever?
I think I'm gonna say at the age of I think when I started uni maybe. Because like I was in an all girls school, so like you know everyone had their girls out, and I'm like, whoa, love
Yeah,
that.
that's
That's a
true.
good thing about being in a brown all girls.
I was gonna say, yeah, because I had a
Nobody cares.
completely different
Yeah,
experience.
because you went to
Yeah.
a white school.
I went to a white all girls school. Like it was mostly white, and like that made me so conscious of myself. Because like obviously when you grow up and stuff, then you start to like grow facial hair and everything. And I remember when I started growing my mustache, right, it came in very thick because you know puberty and everything. So it started growing very thick, and some of my family members would have a nickname for me. And if you're brown, you already know this is the thing. Like in families, you just have like the most insulting nicknames for your family, but it's like out of love or whatever. So my desi people would get me. My family started calling me muchard, which is like muchi is like mustache, right? So it's like
violation of the
muchard
third
is like
degree.
yeah. So yeah, so my mom was like, enough is enough, because I think she started to notice that I was getting a bit insecure about it. She literally pinned me down to the recliner. She got out the thread. She's like, I'm gonna take this off.
Oh
and she
my
did it.
goodness.
Dude, threading hurts too much.
It does. It
I just
really
couldn't.
does.
I literally couldn't let her. She was like trying, and I was like, I can't. It's too painful. And she was literally running after me around our house. And then she brought out the wax strips. She's like, let's just do it.
She had it all right. She was waiting for this moment.
She really was. She just kept chasing me around the house. I was like, I can't, it's too painful, it's too painful. Then eventually she waxed my upper lip. The pain I felt, y'all.
Sure, I can almost imagine you had like a red streak.
Yeah, and the thing is, my skin is very sensitive, so like I had like whole like scabs and stuff on my mustache. So it was painful. It was really painful, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is what it's like to be a woman.
On the other end of having hair everywhere is when you might not have hair in certain places, if you know what I mean.
Don't never say that.
Basically, I have been diagnosed with PCOS, also known as polycystic ovarian syndrome. And because of that, a lot of symptoms come with it, being excessive amounts of hair, and you get more thicker facial hair.
The chin hair as well as one big
God,
telltale sign of PCOS.
And then like a lack of hair on your head, and so like I really had all the textbook symptoms. Oh, acne, as you guys can see. Really, I'm not too shy of all the symptoms.
I've been having beautiful.
I'd never said I wasn't beautiful.
I'm just reaffirming your beliefs. I'm reaffirming your beliefs.
Thank you. You're a real one. And so obviously, like first of all, when I got diagnosed with PCOS, I was I think 17 years old, and it was so relieving that I was like, oh my god. So it's not like it's it's because there's an explanation to my
Yeah.
symptoms, so I felt really relieved. And then
Mm.
imagine my condition when I realized there's no cure for this. It really does hit hard. Even now, when I think about
Mm.
it, I'm like, oh my god, there's still no cure, and it makes me feel so helpless. Like I can't even begin to explain. But what I'm
Yeah.
trying to say is that as Desi girls, I think a lot of women have been diagnosed with PCOS.
Yeah, it's very common.
Exactly. And so like one of the most insecurity striking symptom to me is the lack of hair on my head.
Mm.
You can really see it now, but when I leave it open, there is like a significantly less amount
There's
of hair.
not that much. There's not that much.
Guys, she's just delusional for me. But yeah, I have had people point that out,
Mm.
and in my head, I'm like, what did you get by pointing that
That's
out?
true, actually. Like,
Like, did it satisfy you?
it's
It didn't satisfy
crazy.
me.
Just
I feel bad now because of what you said.
yeah.
So
It's just to feed their own insecurities, like to
yeah,
make themselves feel better.
yeah,
They'll put someone else down, which I think is so horrible.
yeah,
And like, you know, when people comment on things about you that you can't change,
yeah,
it's like, what
yeah,
did you gain
yeah,
from that? Like, weight, like your skin, your hair. What is the point? I really don't get it.
yeah.
I really, really hate that. But
Like
yeah.
for example, like I've had since one time I went on a road trip with a few people from university, and then I was having a really bad hair day. Then it was one of those days when I had significantly less amounts of hair at that point, and I was sharing with a friend that, oh my goodness, I'm having a really bad hair day. She was supposed to say, no, girl, your hair looks fine. That's what I
Yeah.
was expecting. Like, you know what Maheen just did? But she was like, do you even have hair for that? And I'm like, I actually almost cried. I was like, oh my goodness.
Dude, that is insane.
That was, and she was someone that I considered close at that point. So I was like, oh, okay.
That is insane for someone to say. Oh
It
my
is, it
goodness.
is.
What the hell?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Like, how can you say that to someone, let alone say that to your friend?
Yeah.
Coming back to PCOS, like I have not had like diagnosed PCOS, but it runs in my family, and like, I don't know if PCOS is a genetic thing actually, but like,
It is.
oh, it is, yeah. So it runs in my family, and you know, I think I have PCOS, but obviously I have to get it diagnosed. But I think
Sisters in PCOS.
oh my goodness. But I think one of the biggest like kind of scaremongering things about PCOS is the whole infertility thing. So apparently we have a friend who knows a lot about science because she's a STEM student.
Shout out to Priya.
And she basically told us that infertility is not one of the most common things about like PCOS. So but I feel like that's the one thing that always comes in my mind. I'm like, oh my goodness, what if I'm infertile? And I feel like that's for women who want to have children. That's like such a like a big thing. You're like, oh
exactly.
my goodness.
And as women, it's like fed into your mind from the moment you're born that you are going to be a mother one day, or like you are expected to carry kids. And so imagine you like realize, oh my god, like I might not even be able to do the one thing that I was made to do, or like not made to do, but like I've been fed into doing, for sure. Sense. But actually my doctor, she said having PCOS means you might be twice as likely to have twins or triplets even. And I was like, excuse me, doctor,
fingers crossed.
What?
Yes.
We are in two different spectrums. Dude. I'm like, I'm one and done.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you have twins, then you just pop out 2 kids in one go. So it's like you don't have to go to pregnancy twice.
Ooh, I think I'd rather go to the twice than 2 in 1, because I'm thinking all the late nights and like finances. And
but then you just do it in one go.
I see.
Actually, wait. Having 2 kids in one go, I think, is nice for the popping out part, but the actual raising part.
In theory, it's nice, but in practice.
Oh my god, 2 babies crying all night. Guys, I'm rethinking my decision. I cannot lie.
Let's hope she doesn't have PCOS, guys. But yeah, so I've been told it means that you could have twins or triplets. I'm not sure if it does mean infertility. I could be completely wrong. Do not hold me on this. But that's what my doctor said, so hold her on it, not me. Okay, I'm just relaying the information she gave me. Yeah. Speaking of doctors and gynecologists, especially, we were actually sharing our experiences, and we were like, wait a minute, this is not normal. The fact that she went to gynecologist in Pakistan, I went to gynecologist in India actually, and we both had very similar experiences. And bad experiences. And we need to share this because what is happening?
Oh my goodness, yeah. Like I feel like going to a gyno is my worst nightmare now
Mine
because
too.
of my experience.
Yeah.
So basically, I was experiencing irregular periods, and it was to the point where I was kind of concerned. I saw a doctor in the UK. If you are from the UK or you've been to the doctor in the UK for something like irregular periods, you know that they usually prescribe birth control.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to take birth control because obviously that's hormones, and I didn't want to take it. I was only 16. So I didn't want to take birth control. Literally a baby. And the thing is, when I was 16, I, had a bit of that like puppy weight, and I was stress eating and everything because A levels. And yeah, so I was kind of struggling with my weight as well. And so, but according to my BMI, I was just in the category of being overweight. Okay, so keep that in mind. So my mom and I go to this gynecologist because
in Pakistan,
yeah, because we were there, and we were like, okay, let's just try it out.
Yeah, it's such a desi experience. Like when you go back to your home country, get all the checkups done. But continue.
Exactly. So yeah, I was young basically, and I went to this gynecologist with my mom. We were waiting in the waiting room. Then we got called in. First of all, we're waiting for a while, right? So then I'm getting really nervous because I'm like, I've never been to a gynecologist before.
You're like, what's happening in the room? You're like wondering all the possibilities.
I was scared. Then we go into the room. She doesn't really talk to me. She just tells me to step on the scale.
Oh, first thing. What?
I was like,
didn't ask you anything.
She just came in. She was like, Maheen. I was like, yeah. And then she was like, step on the scale, please. And I was like,
oh my goodness, age nothing.
She had my file on hand, and I guess she didn't feel the need to ask me questions.
Enough. But like,
I think it's not about
symptoms, something like that.
I think it's not even about trying to gauge information from the patient. I think it's just trying to make the patient comfortable.
Yeah. Especially in a gynecology hospital.
Yeah, exactly.
Room. Sorry.
You should know that you are dealing with young girls, and at that age, you are so susceptible to developing insecurities about your weight and everything. She just told me to step on the scale. Then she's like, I know what my weight is. I'm just a tiny bit overweight, right? I sit down. She's like, yeah, so what were you in here for again? So we were like, over the irregular periods. And she was like, yeah, just lose weight. And I was thinking to myself,
she didn't ask you nothing, nothing like about your stress, nothing.
Nothing. She just said to me, she's like, just lose weight. She's like, if you lose weight, it's going to get better. And guess what, guys? I lost weight and it didn't get better.
Sorry to hear that.
It's okay.
But that's what sucks, honestly, is that whichever doctor you go to, they're going to be like, lose weight and come back. And
that happened to you as well?
Well, not to me, but like people I know. And I'm like, but you didn't ask them anything about like what they're going through in life, any stressors. Like, I'm learning to be a psychologist. And even we know that you need to have background information before like actually getting the information for yourself. But like I also went to a gynecologist in India because I lost weight. I had lost like around 10 kgs in the span of like 3 months.
Oh damn.
You know.
Yeah.
So I was not gaining that weight back no matter what I did. Even now, like I have not gained that weight back. So obviously I was like, what is happening? Why am I not getting the weight? I'm eating the food. I'm just not gaining the weight. Went to the gynecologist. And she was like, okay, what's the problem? And I told her what the problem is. And then she also checked my weight. It was already on the report. And she was like, you know, you're actually lucky that you are at this weight. Like I was this weight when I got married. And I was like, what? And then
she said that to you?
She said that to me. And then she was like, you know, there's 2 types of PCOS. Like the symptoms present itself in 2 ways. One is the overweight symptom and one is the underweight. And you have the underweight one. And so like you should be lucky. Like you should be happy that you got this type of symptom.
Oh my god.
And I was like, oh, what are you saying, girl? Like this is not what I came here for. And I was like, can I do anything like for to gain weight? Or like I was like, my hair too, like I'm losing a lot of hair. And then she was like, I forgot what she said, but she was like, the only thing I can do is prescribe birth control or like hormone medication, and I'm not gonna do that. And I'm like, why did I come here then? You're not giving me any advice. You're not telling me what to do. All you're saying is that it will like basically. She just said that as I grow older, it's gonna like figure itself out. I'm like, okay.
But like some coping tips, some understanding of mental health,
or like even some understanding of the illness to itself, or the symptom actually to itself. I'm like, anything would have helped. Some reassurance that this is absolutely normal. You can expect it like to get worse at so and so times. Anything, but all she said was,
"Cannot believe she said that." I cannot believe that's.
Yeah, it was an old desi lady as well. So
oh my goodness, I really don't get this. Like you are coming into a profession where you're gonna deal with women, and as women, we deal with so many different issues related to our hormones, PCOS, infertility, insecurities. There are so many things, right? And it's like you really you need to be very careful with
and conscious
your words.
of that. Yeah.
and you need to be conscious with your words and understand that what you say is going to affect their mental health in
Yeah.
some way.
People in the medical field, if you are listening to us,
Just be nice to us.
like, but you I've been seeing TikToks of like our future doctors. I'm like, maybe not.
I have no faith, literally no faith. Half of y'all are chat GPTing your way through this
Except
degree.
Abigail, I trust you with my health and everything.
I have some friends in the medical field as well. I
Shout out
trust
to all
you
of
guys.
you.
I trust you guys, just not everyone else. Yeah, that is basically our take on being a brown girl and things that come with it. Our experiences, our insecurities, and and if you guys want to share your insecurities with us, comment them. I'm just kidding, guys. I'm just kidding.
You don't have to, but if you want to, if you can relate
It's
to
a safe
us,
space. Feel free to comment.
If you have any like wild doctor stories,
Comment them below.
you know what to do. You know the drill already.
Just comment. So yeah, that's all from us this week. We hope you guys join us next week, and we'll see you guys later. Bye.